Hi, it's Chris with Implied Music, and this is just a quick playthrough of a new free Kontakt 7 instrument from Fracture Sound's Electric Keys. It's going to be part of, I think, of a series, the Blueprint series, but it's just this number one is out today. Electric Keys is a Rhodes, and it's programmed and sampled beautifully, just as we've come to expect from Fracture Sounds. It's free. I don't think there's a downside. Let's listen to it. Electric Keys is going to be part of Fracture Sound's Blueprint series. They'll undoubtedly drop some other teaser type instruments. It's an opportunity to become familiar with a sample library provider whose other pianos have been shootout winners for me. I use the Spotlight piano, the Woodchester piano, and Glacier and Midnight keys all the time in my work. Electric Keys sounds great. Let's listen to it. It's free for values of free that include signing up at their website. I don't think they need your firstborn child, but you know the things that go along with that. And when you load it for the first time, it loads looking like this. And it's got a couple of the things that we've come to expect from Fracture Sounds, including, and this is kind of great, this atmosphere knob over here, which adds a second layer. Well, the sound of the instrument is a good, solid Rhodes sound. It's got just the right amount of click. And enough sparkle to make me happy. I honestly could use that right out of the box just like that. But other controls include the ability to give it an amp signal. Let's open up the wrench and see if we can get in there. Ooh, we can see it. So it looks to me like what I'm seeing are 4 sample layers. That's the quiet one. There's the middle one. And then a higher one, and then the sort of sound when you spank it. Okay, we like sample layers. That's good. And then, and I bet the amp sound is an effects section. Okay, we've got instrument buses, and yeah, so the twang and the cabinet effects, we could control them, and we could actually change, some of these elements if we prefer. For instance, if you don't want the Leslie sound, you could, I love that it's a Leslie. You could change that. Well, that's with the full version of Kontakt, of course. And I like it when an instrument gives us the ability to kind of dig in a little bit like that. Well, so here's the amp sound. And I'm going to say that's the way I'm going to go. Stereo spread is nice, and of course just kind of spreads the field. And then let's add chorus for that 70s sound. And I want you to really hear the atmosphere. I'm going to take the stereo spread back and the reverb down, and we'll turn the atmosphere all the way up. I'm going to play a chord and hold it. The atmosphere is a pad made from the original samples, as I understand it. It's got a little granulation to it. It sounds kind of like a tremolo almost, doesn't it? I think it's going to add something. I'm just going to leave it in there. And then reverb. We have some controls. Okay, hall and room. Nothing much. I think what I recall is that the mod adds some chorusing. Yeah. Oh, that's pretty. So it seems to me like we could actually create a lovely ambient electric piano. We could, couldn't we? Fracture Sounds has great interfaces. Look, we should look at some of the interfaces of the other pianos before we finish. But I want to know how much fun this is to play So that's nice. Sample start and velocity response. So the sample start, if I cut into the sample, it's very quickly responsive, but it sort of stops sounding normal. And then if I back it off, look, they've given me latency values. I get a little more color at the top of the sound, and it sounds a little more lively, just the initial attack. But I'd have to offset the track by 32 milliseconds. 32 milliseconds I can hear. I don't mind the middle range of around 20. And then the velocity response, I think a lower velocity response means, it's just, those are all upper velocity samples. I like a fairly expressive, yeah, I like an expressive sound. Well, let's play it with a beat and see if it's any fun at all to play. Fun. It's a fun instrument to play. Listen, for a free Rhodes sample library, I think they've done a terrific job kind of giving us an insight into what Fracture Sounds does best. So just by comparison, let's look at the interface of Spotlight Piano, which is sort of their flagship grand. And it's got some of those same types of controls, including sort of the backing pads. But here, actually, we have 1, 2, 3 backing pads along with the raw sound. Lots of control over reverb, hammer noise, those kinds of same things. The stereo width and the atmosphere intensity knobs are there as well. And this is a great sort of pop or piano sound. You know, I could use this in songwriting every day, basically. I go ahead and add up Glacier keys and Midnight Grand to get a hyper felted sound with these extra paddy sounds adding color. And then finally, I think the very first instrument of Fracture Sounds that I sort of became familiar with is the Woodchester piano, which is just a beautiful upright, which is still kind of a go-to piano for me. It feels modest. The size of it is sort of compact in a way. And I love it for songwriting. You can hear how it feels intimate and yet also broad at the same time. It's clear the intention of the Blueprint series is to introduce us to Fracture Sounds sort of product line. And they do keyboard instruments very, very well. There is a Tom library that they've done recently that I did a review of that really impresses me a lot, and I think is right up there with all the other sort of big epic Tom libraries that are out there right now. Includes an amazing sort of sequencer built in that just generates wonderful patterns. Well, I'm a bit of a fan of theirs, as you can, I think, gather from what I've said. While you, like me, may already have a dozen sample libraries covering these bases, especially the Rhodes, it's, just a default sound. I do like the addition of the, kind of user interface that's playful and really encouraging of experimentation, and that sort of granulated pad that you can sneak in underneath, as well as the ability to modulate the reverb sound built right in there. I think it's worth signing up over there at Fracture Sounds. Well, I hope this has been useful. Like and subscribe, ding the bell, and I will see you next time.